point salsa. I like to call it Pico de Gallo because it kind of differentiates between the cooked and the raw. So we have some beautiful fresh tomatoes, right? We're going to just simply take the core out of these so we can chop and use the entire tomato. We've got some fresh garlic, not too much. We have fresh cilantro. Cilantro is a wonderful herb. When you buy it at the supermarket, it's typically grown hydroponically, which means it's done in typically sand and water, which translates to a very sandy herb. So you take the leaves off of the stems, place it in a very large bowl. The herb will float to the top, agitate the water so that the sand falls off and goes to the bottom, and then lift the herb off the top. Then dry it as best you can and chop it and use it to anything you want to cook with it. Fresh jalapenos, we are going to hull these because the inside is extremely hot and spicy, and depending on how much of that we want to carry into our finished product, we'll take out accordingly. And then of course fresh onion. Peel and skin the onion. Since we're going to be using a food processor for this, we're going to need small pieces to go in so that everything breaks up evenly. And we'll take the onion and cut it each half into quarters. So these are now ready for the food processor. For the jalapenos, we're simply going to take the top off, and then we're going to cut down the sides and utilize those, trying to avoid as much of the heat as possible so that the finished product is not something we can't actually enjoy. So once again, the insides are where the heat is really contained. So by cutting down and eliminating most of the inside of the pepper or the hull is where most of that heat is. Now we do want some of it, so we're going to probably just use a little bit out of one pepper. As you can see now, we have the slices of each pepper. We're just going to take these down just a tiny bit, just so that when they go in the food processor, they process accordingly. So we're going to take all of these ingredients, our chunks of onions, our pieces of jalapeno pepper, a little bit of the core, and then our 2 cloves of garlic, which we've cut up just a tiny little bit, place them inside the food processor. And we're going to use the pulse feature so that we don't turn this into pulp, and just kind of make sure we have nice, even pieces, and that's it. What the hell's gonna say? Start over. Okay, so we've taken the tomatoes, I've cut them into quarters just so that they fit better in the other attachment for the food processor. This thing's pretty cool. It's actually going to do the dicing for us to make everything nice and quick. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're just going to beautifully diced tomatoes. So we now have the mixture of garlic, onions, peppers that we put in through the regular food processor with the nicely diced tomatoes. We're just going to go ahead and mix that and make sure we've got enough of the quantity of ratio onions, peppers, garlic to tomato. This looks like we could use a little bit more. And the rest is just going to be seasoning this to taste with salt, pepper, and cilantro, and adding just a little bit of vinegar to get the right kind of bite to it. The last component to this is going to be the seasoning, and all of this is really depending on your tastes. I'm going to take a little bit of cilantro so that it doesn't overpower. Cilantro is a very strong herb, and it actually tastes different to different people. So we're just going to chop this up nice. Some people actually love cilantro, and some people detest it. It's a weird herb. Take that. We're going to add a ton of nice fresh cracked pepper. Some additional black pepper, because we like a lot of pepper. And then some salt. Nothing in this dish has any sodium in it, so if you want it to really pop and really taste good, you definitely have to add some salt to it. And then as far as vinegar is concerned, we don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. So we're just going to add a couple of tablespoons. We'll give this a final mix. Make sure everything is evenly distributed. And then a little taste. And that's it. Thanks for watching.